Hello everybody, welcome back to the British Boring Car Championship. Apologies for that. Typical, isn't it? Absolutely typical. Internet issues again. Vodafone are getting binned off now. It's as simple as that. Vodafone are not having any of my custom anymore. I got told last week that they were sorting the line out, and it's not good enough. They said they were doing it the other day, so stuff them. Anyway, we're excited. We're here for a fantastic new season of the British Boring Car Championship. Very exciting format ahead of us. And a lot of new drivers in the field. So, as I was just saying before I was rudely interrupted by terrible internet, Jake Robertson and Louis Hanker, who you can see on screen here for Bordeaux, spelt incorrectly, ironically, as Jake is clearly taking it seriously. Bordeaux are one of the new teams based on the 1998 Peugeots from the British Touring Car Championship. Another new team is Matt Draycott and Josh Rayfield in Team Red Ring, which are the Audis from 1998. And those two cars also very pretty and probably one of the quickest teams on the grid all round. Liam Silkstone teams up with Rob Lundgren at Ericsson Hit Us. Carl Jackalette stays at Team Netcode, but he has a new teammate in the form of Michael Ellett, the South African driver, who I first saw in the Sunday Drivers MX5 series on Sim Racers World. Andy Fox takes over the championship runner-up last season of Dave Waldoch's car. He joins Michael Blake, the reigning team's champions. Paul Smith joins us as one of the independents, which is great to see. All of the independents are new drivers this season. Thank you, Stream Deck. It's Paul Smith. Maciej Sakovic takes over the independent championship winning car from last season. And he's also running the overall drivers' champion number from last season, number 88, which was run by Dennis Melchert. Calvin Dent is in the pit lane in the Matt Neal machine. And Michael Jones, unfortunately, not here this evening to join us in the Paula Cook replica machine. Well, the drivers are just getting towards the end of qualifying now. Just looking at Ben Lambert now with Matt Draycott side by side into the chicane. Matt's going to be trying to get a lap in. And one thing these drivers have this season is I've made them driver suits. They're not all the greatest that you'll see, but they are similar to what the drivers would have worn back then. The Volvo one's a little bit fancy, but they are similar. And if you'll notice on the Team Red Ring one, they are actually wearing Vans as Matt puts it off the circuit into the wall, and there is the Team Red Ring car lining up. Steve Burke, by the way, joining Nodaphone. Now this is going to be a very interesting lineup. He's got Tom Jacobs. Other than reigning champion Dennis Melchert, Tom is the most winningest driver in the championship. Steve Burke doesn't have a win to his name, but his pace at the end of last season was pretty amazing as the drivers all... Wow. Wow, guys, flipping heck. That's pretty rash, isn't it? Right then. They all burst out of their respective garages and out of the pit lane. First car out on track is Michael Blake, who has a grey windscreen banner this season, as opposed to the white and red one that he was running last season. Jason Plato ran this grey windscreen banner in the year 2000 and was running the number 5, so I thought it was quite suitable for Michael to run that one. Interesting little one as well about the driver numbers. So any cars that are numbered between 1 and 10, that's basically where they finished last season. That is their previous championship finishing position. Anyone that has a number higher than 10, it doesn't hold any bearing to where they finished last time. So Tom Jacobs won the test, the pre-season test on Tuesday at Snetterton. Ben Williams was the man who qualified on pole position. But he had obviously been reversed back to 10th place And then he had a very, very rough start to his race. And was out after lap 1, which was a real shame. So hopefully Ben can show that he's got the pace. Derek Robb seemingly not here this evening, I'm afraid. We've got, I think, 4 drivers that aren't here tonight. Maybe 3. Derek Robb, Michael Jones, Josh Rayfield. I think that's it, to be fair. Just trying to see if there was anyone else. Michael Jones, obviously the independent. He's the only independent not to be here this evening. And yes, there are mandatory pit stops for race 2. The main difference being that the drivers have to take 2 tyres in said pit stop. So look out for that, because that will be scrutinised at the end of the evening, and any updates will come post-race for that, unless it's blaringly obvious that the car doesn't go up on the jacks. So into qualifying we go. And the drivers will now start to put their outlaps in at least. This is Calvin Dent, the car that was driven by Chris Coughlin last season, to 3rd in the Mediocre Cup for Independents. And he's not happy with something there, so he's going straight back to the pits. This is Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke working together in the Nodaphone cars. Absolutely love the livery on those things. It looks brilliant. Just behind them is Ben Williams, who we know is fast. Here's Michael Ellett, the South African driver. Great to have Michael aboard. Maciej Sakovic as well, previous BSR Kia Club Series champion. Wow, all over the curbs. He won that championship at this circuit, actually, against Ben Hackison, as Louis Hanker and Jake Robertson make their intentions clear at the top of the standings, the 22 and 46. Jake Robertson, of course, is the iRacing World Championship Rallycross driver for Apex Racing Team, so Jake's very, very quick. He's only a young lad as well. Ben Williams, he goes a 1:18.003. I don't think we've seen anybody get into the 1:17s yet during practice. Be interesting to see if we get that. Ben Lambert, he's hopeful for a better season this time round. Do I need extra material for extra material for Tom's race suit? Wow, that's savage. That good to see you, Ash. Hope you well, mate. Hope you well. But Ben Lambert, he's hopeful for a better season, and he's been doing a little bit better in terms of his race pace as well. So Ben's definitely one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on this season, as Ben Williams has gone fastest from Jake Robertson, Louis Hanker and Paul Smith. Just going to see who is about to finish a lap. Jake Robertson is, but I think he may pull over after this one and go back for new tyres. He's trying to help his teammate Louis Hanker with some slipstream. Do either of them improve? No. Does Calvin Dent improve behind? No. 1:32.4. That was Calvin's outlap, I believe. Let's go on board as we go through Redgate down towards the Craners. Never realised how purple those gloves and boots looked, but oh well. Down towards the old hairpin. Very scary corner to get right in this car. He needs to just hope and pray. He's run a bit wide there. That's going to be an incident point, and that's going to have put pay to his lap. We've got a purple sector from Tom Jacobs here. Although that was last time round, he actually did a purple sector 2 on that last lap, but I don't think it counted. Niall Crowther moves up to 13th place, just ahead of Calvin Dent. 1.5 seconds off. Sorry, 9/10 of a second off his teammate, who is 1.5 seconds off. Reigning independent champion Matt Draycott has not put a time in yet. He is actually the highest seeded driver this season. So he is basically the driver that finished the highest last season that's competing this time around. Jake Robertson and Louis Hanker both dive into the pits there in Bordeaux. Good to see them working together. Draycott puts his first time on the board, goes 12th, 1:19.4. 1.4 seconds off the pace, only just faster than Ben Lambert. He wasn't very pleased with how the car was handling around here. You can see it bouncing and wobbling. But he's got no Josh Rayfield tonight. No teammate to help him out this time round. As Steve Burke goes 3rd fastest and pulls over straight away. Into the pits he goes. Oh, Derek Robb has just messaged me and said he missed quali by minutes. That's a real shame. So, poor start to the season, you could say, for Derek Robb. Here's Paul Smith, who is streaming tonight. It's twitch.tv/Smilerbull. I'll put that in the chat for you right now. Paul is the broadcaster and main commentator of the World GT Championship that I work on with him for RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. We have a lot of fun on that stream. And Paul makes it a very professional and clean broadcast. And he's the top independent at the moment, just so you can see on the left-hand side, by the way. I'm not sure whether this will display correctly. No, it's not. But the mediocre cup for independents, basically. Oh, Calvin Dent, third fastest. Nicely done. The cars on the left with the blue box around their numbers have blue number boards, as you'll see on the side of the car, as the independents did in the British Touring Car Championship back then. Now here's Liam Silkstone. Started on pole at Snetterton in the pre-season test. He goes straight on for the line. That puts him 14th. So it's Lambert and Crowther at the moment, I'm afraid, for Dodgy MOT that are languishing at the bottom of the field. Tom Jacobs goes on to a hot lap. And Steve Burke just behind. Let's ride on board with Steve Burke, shall we? Good evening, Hedge. Good to see you, mate. We'll go on the nose camera of Steve's car. Tom, a little bit out of shape there. You can tell he's really pushing. Sakovic goes 5th in the Arena International Independent Machine. The independents are working together. Good to see you as well, Ash. How are you doing, mate? We're in morning lighting here, and all of the sessions and all of the events that we're doing are going to be on the real date that they happen. So the in-sim date is the 8th of October here, and it's in the morning. Oh, Steve's got to get down the inside of Tom, and they're going to compromise each other. Is that Ben Lambert just behind? It is. Ben has a bit of a bounce through Coppice. That won't have helped him at all. Hey, Lars, good to see you, mate. Into the final couple of corners. Keep an eye on Steve Burke here. He's currently 4th on the grid. He was quick at Snet last week as well. I say last week, it was 2 days ago. Oh, Ben goes grass tracking. It's so close between 3rd, 4th and 5th as well. Mere thousandths of a second in it. Does Steve improve? He doesn't. I think just that evasive action getting around Tom wouldn't have helped him. We've got Matt Draycott off the circuit at turn 1. He's going to put it in the wall. Very frustrated at the moment is Matt. And Andy Fox as well. He's down there in 11th place at the moment. He's following his teammate Michael Blake very closely to try and get some slipstream. They've got Ben Williams behind them. Ben currently on pole position. Blake improves. He's 8th. Andy Fox 3rd. Brilliant stuff. And Ben Williams goes even faster. A 1:17.8. He's 3.5 tenths faster than anybody at the moment. Ben Williams for Team Jane Fonda. He may not have his teammate here tonight, but at the moment I don't think he cares. He's doing an amazing job. He put it on pole at Snetterton on Tuesday. And here he is as well, putting it on pole again. So number 75, Ben Williams, potentially one to watch. As Jake Robertson sits in 2nd. As well, say sits. The car definitely wasn't sitting around there then, was it? That was very, very bouncy. Louis Hanker is now down to 8th place. Smith up to 7th. The top 11 covered by 8 tenths of a second. Tom Jacobs down there in 11th place as well. After winning the pre-season test the other night, he'll be expecting more, I imagine. It's an improvement for Robertson, but not enough to go fastest. Now, who's coming into the final couple of corners? It's Andy Fox and Michael Blake again. And yeah, Crowther 1.9 seconds off at the bottom there, behind Ben. Any improvements there? Blake goes up a position. Andy Fox does not improve. Liam Silkstone's just started his lap in the background. We'll keep an eye on with Liam now. You can see the two Might Just Fit cars getting off the circuit in front. Now, Liam was the fastest in practice in the pre-season test, which was interesting, but I'm quite surprised to see him all the way down there. We'll have to see how he gets on here. Chloe in the chat, good to see you, mate. Hope you enjoy this one. This should be a lot of fun. Oh, Liam slowing down. Not quite sure why. Niall and Ben have just started a hot lap each. Oh, as they both run wide. Niall having a bit of a tough time getting back into the swing of things, it seems. Carl Jacquelet was quite high up in practice, but he's now 10th at the moment. It's so close to call, honestly. The field is so jumbled up. There's no way of knowing. This is Michael Elliott then on his debut season. There's Hanker and Robertson just behind. Oh, he decides to get out of the way. That sounded like someone going very wide. That was Steve Burke. As he pulls over. There's Jake Robertson. He's also gone wide. Just over 2.5 minutes of this session left to go. And hopefully we can have a nice clean run through tonight, because the other night iRacing was being a... and the sessions were an absolute mess. Because the heat racing format is difficult to get on with, it seems. So Jake Robertson then into the final chicane. Bumpy ride. Wobbles around, you can hear the curb. Or at least I hope you can. Because it's very quiet. It's the is the Jetta. Oh, I do have the air horns ready, Ian. Don't you worry, mate. I've already said to the guys, I'm going to turn the car sounds up. I've already said it to the guys that when someone crosses the line or takes a win, then we've got the MLG air horns ready. But I'm not sure how much of that I'll actually go and use. We've got Paul Smith off the circuit. Oh, big time as well. Paul is off the circuit badly. He may have just hit the curbs on the way in and it would have pitched around. That's what I'm thinking. Let's have a look. Chucks it in. Yeah, whoa, big one as well. All four wheels off the ground. Launches it into the barriers. And that's a big hit for Paul Smith. And there he is, sat in the pits. As a little bit further up the order, Tom Jacobs goes, but no massive improvement for him. Draycott surprisingly down in 13th. Silkstone in 14th as well. And it looks like Dodgy MOT are in for a difficult night as well. Oh, Paul was on for a P3 lap apparently. Magic Sakovic, by the way, has done a purple Sector 1. So we'll keep an eye on Magic. Sector 2 wasn't anything to be sniffed at, it seems. But purple Sector 1, that surely means there's some credentials for a very good lap here. Through the final corner, nice and neat, lovely. Gets a good run on the exit. What can he do? Oh, the car off there, that's Carl Jacquelet. And the session finishes and instantly closes it. Wow. I was not expecting that. And to be fair, yeah, Tom Jacobs may have perfectly sandbagged. So Tom Jacobs takes pole. Louis Hanker, Michael Blake, Paul Smith. Then it's Magic Sakovic and Steve Burke, Calvin Dent and Andy Fox, Jake Robertson and Ben Williams gets the first pole position points of the season. Carl Jacquelet and Liam Silkstone make up row 6, with Michael Elliott alongside Matt Draycott, with Ben Lambert and Niall Crowther making it a Dodgy MOT back row of the grid. So here we go. Are we all ready? Are we all ready to go? Here's Tom Jacobs. Alongside him, Louis Hanker, with Michael Blake, Paul Smith, Magic Sakovic, and then Steve Burke. And I'm so excited. The first round of Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship from Donington Park is away. It looked like somebody jumped the start in the background there. Not quite sure how they did it. Louis Hanker has a nightmare off the line. Tom Jacobs leads it then. Michael Blake, Paul Smith and Magic Sakovic all gain a place from that. Andy Fox is down the inside of Steve Burke into turn 1. They're 3 wide. Hanker has gone way down. He's lost 6 places already. We've got Steve Burke running out very wide there on the left-hand side as they go down the hill. Jake Robertson's on his inside. Ben Williams trying to fight his way back through. But at the very front, though, it's Tom Jacobs with Michael Blake and Paul Smith behind. Then it's Sakovic, Fox, Dent, Robertson. Just having a look back to see what goes on. No argy-bargy yet. Nice clean start, to be honest. This is Ben Williams side by side with Carl Jacquelet. Further up, Calvin Dent and Magic Sakovic side by side. I think Magic may have got a slow down. Tom Jacobs has gone way, way wide at McLean's. So too is Sakovic in the background. Look at Paul Smith in 3rd place. Car 33, P3 at the moment. And he's on a mission. Michael Blake's dancing around all over the place. Andy Fox has gone way off at Coppice. And that was his chance to get a much better finish than he was expecting there. Steve Burke now trying it on Jake Robertson. Jake must have had him off in the midsection of the lap. We've got a car going slowly on the brakes on the way in there. That was Michael Blake. Oh, Paul Smith's off. Paul's gone off and into the wall. Gets going. Oh, and that's Andy Fox around. Andy Fox is around and his first lap has gone from bad to worse for him. Let's have a look here. Draycott comes spearing up the inside. Oh, and who was that? It was Jacquelet into the back of Elliott. And it all kicked off there, I'm afraid. Tom Jacobs is off in the distance at the moment, though. Calvin Dent's got everybody behind him. Jake Robertson, Steve Burke. Then there's Maciej Sakovic side by side with Louis Hanker. Ben Williams in there as well. Dent's gone deep into the old hairpin. They're all sideways and all over the place. Look at this. If we go on board with Ben Williams, there's literally cars everywhere. Such a shame for Andy Fox. Jacquelet just missed his braking point, hit his teammate Sakovic down the inside of Burke, hopping around at McLean's. I was going to say, Louis Hanker's in there still somewhere. A bit of a punt there from the rear. Paul Smith trying to get through as well. Absolute train of cars. Michael Blake and Liam Silkstone side by side. Matt Draycott's waiting to see what happens. This will probably be the best view in the house, to be honest. We'll go on board with the chopper. No, chopper. Just ahead as well. Look at Williams and Hanker side by side into the chicane. They managed to do it. Oh, Williams and Hanker make big contact. It's broken the front right on Hanker's car. I think he gets a smack in the rear from Blake. Maybe a bit unnecessary. He could have backed off, boys. But Paul Smith has had a fair old whack, and that car doesn't look like it's behaving itself, does it? That was wheel-to-wheel contact, and that's just the damage it can do. Not sure what Paul's car is going to be behaving like now. But out in front, Tom Jacobs. Look at this. The perfect sandbag in qualifying to get 10th. Jake Robertson's all the way up there with Calvin Dent behind him, who's leading the independents. Then it's Burke and Sakovic right behind him. Sakovic looks like he's got a really good run through the old hairpin there, trying to go round the outside. And in the background, look at this, Paul Smith's got the train behind him. I know he likes streaming Train Simulator, but this is a whole different kettle of fish to what he's used to. You've got Silkstone looking at Blake there as well. Ben Williams is going to get a big slowdown penalty for that, surely. He cut a lot of McLean's there. Draycott's trying to get past Silkstone. Niall Crowther is also looking. Go on board with Ben Williams. There is Crowther right in front in the dodgy MOT car. Williams actually gets alongside and gets the run on Niall. Into the chicane we go once more. Blake side by side. Oh, Smith has a big curb hop. He's run out wide. Draycott's going to get past Silkstone and by Blake here as well, by the look of it. Ben Lambert's just gone off the circuit. I think Draycott's made it. You know, Draycott's moved 8 places so far. Jake Robertson's gained 7. Around the outside of Michael Blake. A bit hesitant on turning, but he carries the pace, you know. I think Blake is still side by side, though. As they go down the crane occurs one more time, though. Draycott does have the position. He's up to 6th place after starting 14th on the grid. So what a great first round for Matt. He's obviously not in with a shout of defending his independence title. I want to see what happens to Louis Hanker, though. Oh, this is Louis coming back on track, actually. Where is it? It was Michael Blake that went off. I think this is when Louis Hanker went off. It was, yeah, that tiny bit of contact, just wheel to wheel. broke Louis' car and he got a big hit in the rear as well. Such a shame. Calvin Dent's having to hold off the rabble. Steve Burke and Maciej Sakovic right behind him. Watch for Maciej trying to make a move on Steve here. Jake Robertson is 1.7 seconds up the road and he's actually done the fastest lap of the race. That's Jake Robertson. It may have come up green on the timing, but it was the fastest lap of the race. Now, Steve Burke needs to be very careful here because Maciej's looking feisty and he wants that first independent win of the season. He's looking just behind all this. Draycott's got Blake very much attached to the back of him. Silkstone has then got to think about what Ben Williams is trying to do. Ben is glued to his rear bumper. On the left-hand side he goes. These two teammates at Excite Energy iRacing, I believe. And Louis in the chat. I'm afraid his first race over prematurely. Look at Blake on the back of Draycott though. And yes, that does say B5 triple rather than A4 quattro. Matt in the new team for this season. Is Michael going to force the issue here, or is he going to try and work together with him? Matt's gone defensive to the inside. Blake's just playing it safe, you know. Oh, he gets a good run on the exit as well. No overlap. Tom Jacobs' lead is 3 seconds over Jake Robertson at the moment. Look at Ben Williams down the inside. He's really opened the door there on Michael Blake side by side as they go down the hill. Oh, Ben doesn't really leave the room. Bit of contact, gets away with it. Mike looks down the inside. Oh, Silkstone out of shape. Niall Crowther's going to pounce. Through he goes. Both in the top 10, so that's championship points. The top 10 getting points in this championship. Blake now side by side with Draycott just ahead as well. These two raced very closely last season as well. Ben Williams in there too. This is very feisty stuff from Blake and Draycott. Ben now season opening down the inside at Coppice. What can he do? Draycott's just in front. Don't make it 3 wide, boys. This is going to get very, very, very aggressive. He's equal with Michael Blake. Don't give each other an incident point. You get 15 incident points before you get a drive through. Over the curbs goes Ben Williams side by side with Michael Blake. Silkstone's going to try and get a run on them now as well. Here comes Liam in the Ericsson Hitters car. 3 wide down the straight. It's Liam Silkstone there on the left. Draycott's not too worried about what's going on. Oh, Blake's late on the brakes though. Manages to carry it around the outside. Good stuff from Michael. And Matt's away. But look at Tom Jacobs, though. Tom Jacobs. 2.1 seconds ahead of Jake Robertson. Calvin Dent is ahead of Steve Burke. Oh, no, sorry. Calvin is defending from Steve Burke. Apologies. It was Steve that was defending from Sakovic before. Last season, Nodaphone had Tom Jacobs win the very first race of the season. And then his teammate, Jack Werrell, won race 2. Are they going to try and do the same again? Draycott still defending from Michael Blake. He's going to be working hard for this. 6 minutes to go in Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship. Silkstone and Williams still together as well. Look at Draycott weaving all over the place, trying to break the slipstream. Paul Smith and Michael Elliott are in a bit of no man's land here behind them. Oh, and Blake goes round the outside into the chicane. Doesn't quite work for him. And now look at this. Williams and Silkstone are pouncing as well. He blocks Silkstone on the inside. But now it's Williams that's on the right of your shot. What can he do? Oh, Silkstone's behind him now. And Ben Williams round the outside at Redgate. Oh, he's wide though. And Crowther's going to want a piece of this as well, you know. Crowther was in it a moment ago. And now he's not. Now we saw that Williams didn't leave the space down here last time. What's he going to do here? Now he's on the opposite end of the stick. Now he's on the outside. Blake slots in down the inside. Oh, Ben shoves him through the old hairpin. I've told these guys they don't need to make unnecessary contact. You don't get many incident points or many chances to get this right. Steve Burt, by the way, has overtaken Calvin Dent, and so too has Maciej Sakovic. Let's have a look what happened here. This is Steve getting it done while all that was happening. Nice cutback out of turn 1. Great stuff by Steve. And then Maciej gets through as well. He must have done it at the bottom of the hill. No, Maciej must have done it a little bit later. Andy Fox and Michael Elliott. Oh, Elliott sideways on the grass as he gets into the chicane. And Andy Fox goes through. This is still the battle to watch, though. Draycott's bolted away from it a little bit. He's gained 8 positions in this race so far. I'll show you the gains on the left-hand side of the screen. 7 places for Jake Robertson, 8 for Draycott, 6 for Crowther. Don't forget, Crowther started at the very back of the grid. So he's having a great race so far. The sun comes out. I hope you're all enjoying this first race of the championship. It's great fun. That, of course, now, with Sakovic getting ahead of Dent, means that Sakovic is the highest placed independent in this race. And he's on his way to a mediocre Cup for Independents race win. Andy Fox is closing on Paul Smith. Maybe he didn't need to make that contact, mate. He's down the inside into Coppice. I'm thinking Paul's probably still got a bit of damage on the car. Paul turns in for the apex. But Andy's there. Maybe 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Yeah, Andy was full lock to the right. Let's have a look. Yeah, Paul was going for the apex, but Andy was going to run wide. It was 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Jacobs is off out of turn 1. Now with 2.5 minutes to go, Robertson is looking like a real threat here to Tom Jacobs. Oh, Andy Fox has come in the pits as well. He must have had some damage or maybe a drive-through for that. But here is Jake Robertson, chasing Tom Jacobs now. His teammate's out of the race, but he doesn't care at the moment. Jacobs wants to make it 2 seasons in a row where he's won the first round. Jake wants to be a winner on his debut in the series. He had a rough time at Snetterton on Tuesday. We've got 2 minutes to go, so that's 2 more laps for Tom to worry about this. A little bit of damage on the front right of Jake's car. He's looking feisty though. Tom's got quite a lot of off tracks as well, it seems. There's Steve Burke and Maciej Sakovic through the final corner. Could it be 2 Nodaphone cars on the podium? Look in the background as well for the rest of them. That's Draycott, then Blake, then Williams, then Silkstone and Crowther. Rounding out your top 10. The first 10 getting those championship points. But this is the battle for the lead then. So the gap at the moment is currently, well, not that many cars for one. You can see the gap in the bottom right of your screen. It's coming down now as Jake gets the run. Oh, he's almost alongside before McLean's. I didn't think he'd actually got the overlap for a second there. That's why I stayed quiet. But this is really on now. The battle is well and truly on. Robertson down the inside. Jacobs blinking in and out a little bit. That's not going to help things for Jake. It's not ideal. Oh, that's quite bad blinking as well. I hope that that sorts itself out because we don't want to see that. Onto the brakes again, into the chicane. It's going to be 1 more lap now. This is going to be the final lap for Tom Jacobs. Just so you can see how distracting this is from Jake's point of view. We go on board. He looks to the inside into Redgate. He commits to it. Oh, nearly making contact. This is it, the final lap of race 1 of the season 2 of the British Touring Car Championship. And what a battle we've been treated to already. I apologise for the stream issues earlier, but let's hope this continues. As Jake Robertson looks down the inside of the old hairpin, it's not going to work. Little bit of contact. Whoa! Jacobs takes to the moon. And that can only be attributed to the connection issue. Oh, it's a real shame for Tom Jacobs. He gets absolutely launched. That's such a shame. But with the inconsistent connection, car blinking in and out, it was going to happen. These cars overreact to wheel banging anyway. And then with that in it, I'm afraid that was going to happen. Crowther's up to 9th, by the way, now because of that. But out of the final corner, on his debut, Jake Robertson round the final corner. Take a bounce on what a drive. Steve Burke on his debut for Vodafone takes 2nd place. Maciej Sakovic takes the first win of the season in the Mediocre Cup for Independence ahead of Calvin Dent and Matt Draycott, your biggest mover in the field, gaining 9 places. Oh, as Michael Blake comes into the pits at the last corner, Ben Williams just beats Liam Silkstone across the line. Niall Crowther gets 8th place. He'll be happy with that one. Where does Michael Blake finish? Does it class him? Will it put Elliott ahead of him? Not 100% sure there. We'll have to look at the result. Here's Andy Fox. I think he's had a slowdown penalty at some point. He's been overtaken now by... Oh no, sorry, Carl Jackalette is a lap down in that situation. And then it's Ben Lambert behind him and then Paul Smith. But, oh, that's such a shame, man. As, well, we go into a 10-minute warm-up session then. This is the little sort of interval between the two races. And we'll see who goes out on circuit first. Matt Draycott, the first one to go out there then. But we'll give you the results from that first race. So Jake Robertson takes it, 4.3 seconds clear of Steve Burke, with Maciej Sakovic in 3rd place. Then it was Calvin Dent ahead of Matt Draycott, with Liam Silkstone finishing in 6th place. Then it's Niall Crowther 7th ahead of Michael Elliott in 8th, followed by Andy Fox in 9th position. Then it was Ben Lambert rounding out your top 10, so points for both dodgy MOT cars despite starting on the back row of the grid. Paul Smith just misses out in 11th with Ben Williams, and then Michael Blake having a bit of a tough time there coming into the pits at the end of the race. Tom Jacobs, unfortunately, a lap down on that one with Carl Jackalette. Louis Hanker having a nightmare at the very start of that. Jake has messaged in the chat saying, what the hell happened there? I touched Tom and he went catapulting away. Yeah, it was very much a strange one. Jake joins me in the booth now, though. Jake, that was a hell of a first race, though. I mean, you must be at least pleased to take the win, but not the circumstances.
Well, it was a bit of a weird one. I think, I don't want to say the N word, but there was some connection issues on Tom's end by the looks of it. So for me, I tapped his rear end and then he just went catapulting off into the abyss. But the drive, I'm really happy with it, honestly.
I was going to say, I mean, on your debut in the championship to take the first win, after qualifying, obviously you showed that you had the pace, but to come from, 9th on the grid and take that was a very good drive indeed. What did you make of coming through the pack in a sprint race like that?
It is very scary. I'll admit, like, a lot of the drivers in the top 10 they were actually very clean. I had a little bit of a battle with one of them. It might have been Steve, but like he stayed very respectful throughout the whole time, so I'm happy with it.
Well, good stuff, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but obviously taking the win, best way to start your championship, and you got 2 points as well for second on the grid, so a very, very amazing start for you. Well done on that, and we'll catch up with you a bit later, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
And I suppose that it's probably worth speaking to the other part of the Donington Park Space Programme, Tom Jacobs. Tom, that was a real shame that it ended that way, wasn't it, with the catapult into the sky?
Yeah, don't really know what happened there. I was just chatting to your brother, actually, trying to work out what the hell that was.
Well, there was a lot of blinking on your end from the connection. So for like half a lap, it was blinking a lot. And I mean, we know these cars overreact to wheel banging, don't we? And yeah, I think that when it's blinked in and out, it's just exaggerated that 9 million times over.
Having a fit so obviously I haven't got time to reset the route now. So shame it went that way, but obviously there's a long way to go in this championship, so I'm sure we can take the fights over them.
Well, fingers crossed you can, mate. It was going to be on for 2 round 1 wins in a row, which, there's a while before you get to repeat that again, I'm afraid. But even so, it was good to watch, and I'm sure that you'll be pleased with the pace. So, would you reckon you can get a nice clean drive through the field here in the feature race?
Yeah, I think we'll have a go. I was surprised actually in that round how quick Jake actually is. I thought when everyone started having a bit of argy-bargy, I thought we were going to walk away with it, but we. I think we can get a clear cut through the pack, and I'm just interested to see what we can do actually.
Smashing. Well, good luck, mate, and sorry about that race one, but we'll keep an eye on you for the rest of it.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. Well, there you go then. Tom Jacobs having a very rough time in that first race. As teammate Steve Burke, though, he'll be happy with a second place. Very strong result for him there on his debut. Some of the drivers just taking a minute to chill by the look of it. Others using it as a chance to get a little bit more warm up before the next race. I don't blame them. Steve Burke does have real racing credentials. He is a brick car driver in a Nissan 350Z GT car that he made himself. And he was the 2016 Class 2 champion, I believe. So he's got racing driver pace, says Steve. And he's shown that before. And we've actually... Good old Ben Williams has just jumped into the interview waiting room, so we'll give him a word. Ben, how did you find that first race, mate?
It was alright actually. Wasn't too bad. Got a good start. Managed to make a few positions. Then unfortunately got to slow down. I think lap 3. Gave back a few positions, and then had a good battle with Michael Blake, Matt Draycott as well. That was brilliant, and Liam as well. Tenting a few sends, which was quite interesting. And then right at the end, the car in front seems to slow down a lot on the last apex, and ended up getting a 4x, ended up with a 16x. So
ouch.
Yeah, but it was a good race. I was happy with that. It was close. Lots of 0x's as well for minor contact, but no 4x's to really write home about.
Well, you also got 3 points, obviously, for pole position as well, which you can definitely smile at. And, I mean, when you take the pole position in the pre-season test the other day, and then here, that's got to surely fill you with confidence for the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's certainly... I was surprised myself. I was not expecting to be qualifying on pole, but, I mean, there's a long season ahead of us, so let's not count our chickens just yet.
Well, I'll keep an eye on you, mate, because it's certainly been a nice surprise to see you putting that pace in. We'll catch up with you in a little bit then, but good luck in the next one.
No worries. Thank
Cheers.
you very much.
Ben Williams there driving for Team Jane Fonda, the team that finished, I believe, 5th last season out of the 6 teams in the championship. We've got Andy Fox out on circuit. Himself and Michael Blake both had a bit of a nightmare towards the end of that race. I'm not sure if they got some sort of penalties, but they get 15 incident points before they get a drive-through penalty, and then 25. So expect to see a bit more reserve driving in this feature race, because it's a half-hour race now rather than just a 15-minute sprint. And they have a mandatory pit stop where they must take at least 2 tyres. They can take 4 if they want, but it's up to them how they play it. Maciej Sakovic, by the way, as he's doing a little bit of drifting, is the first race winner this season in the Mediocre Cup for Independents, which are the drivers with the blue number boards on the cars. And good evening, Dave. Dave Waldoch in the chat. Last season's runner-up. Great to see you, mate. Hope you're well. But yeah, what a great drive that was by Maciej Sakovic. Previous BSR Kia Club Series champion, Maciej Sakovic. I've got blimp cam for a minute just to get some of the scenes here at Donington Park. I think Louis Hanker and Andy Fox are sort of near each other on track. Never mind, I'm telling absolute porkies. But I hope that you enjoy this broadcast, and it makes it a little bit nicer not having a sort of stale break in the middle where we get No adverts or anything, just a screen saying we'll be right back. At least we get cars to look at on circuit as well. And it just gives the drivers a little bit of time as well to have a quick break before it. And it means that they're not up so late as well by the end of it. And don't forget, we've got 2 weeks until the next round of the championship. Rounds 3 and 4 are on the 22nd of October at 7:45 PM. They're also going to be on Chaz Draycott Media on YouTube and on Twitch and on Facebook as well. Fingers crossed with no technical issues like we had earlier on. And this is a maybe. I met with David Addison yesterday, and we went out for lunch and had a good old chat and a chinwag. And he is hoping to be here for rounds 3 and 4 of the championship in 2 weeks' time, which would be fantastic. And he's hoping to do further rounds after that as well. So he is back essentially for Season 2, obviously calendar permitting. There are going to be clashes, I'm sure. He's understandably a very busy man. But I think that first race has really set a precedent. It was a shame about Tom Jacobs. And Adam Hedgecock has just sent me a screenshot of the overlay with the bar that's wider than the other one. And yes, that's because usually, Adam, the top part of that bar with the driver's name and the number and so on in it usually has an outline around it. And I got rid of it to make sure it was separated because I wanted the timing tower to be separated. So I'm afraid you're going to have to deal with that one. Now, interestingly, Steve Burke and Tom Jacobs have moved into a different chat in the Discord. Surely he'll prioritise this series, Ian says. I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case. So, practice is over then. And race 2 of the evening is ready to go. So, here is your grid then. I'll shut the music up. It's Jake Robertson, pole position. Steve Burke, then Magic Sakovic and Calvin Dent. Very interesting second row. Then we have Matt Draycott and Liam Silkstone, Niall Crowther and Michael Elliott with Andy Fox and Ben Lambert. Paul Smith and Ben Williams with Michael Blake, Tom Jacobs, Carl Jacquelet and Louis Hanker. So look for Andy, for Paul, Ben, Michael and Tom to come back through from the rear of the field because they have all shown that they're very quick indeed. There's a mandatory pit stop that must be taken after lap 4. And it looks like, yeah, some of the drivers there with their wheels not quite pointing straight. They're wobbling them around a little bit. That's Michael Elliott. That's pointing his wheel all the way to the left. Just waiting on Calvin Dent to pop up on the right-hand side of your screen on the second row of the grid. And then we'll be good to go. So it's half an hour race now. And round 2 of Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship from Donington Park National is away. Looks like a very even start. Liam Silkstone moving over to the right there to get behind Draycott. Blake through the middle. Crowther moving in the middle as well. Looks like Steve Burke may have got the better of Jake Robertson down to turn 1. Doesn't quite get it done. Just looking a little bit further back to see if there's any shenanigans going on here, but nice and tidy from everyone so far. Let's use Blimpy Boy. Look at this. Look at Steve Burke has taken the lead off Jake Robertson at the front. Magic Sakovic is going down the inside there with him, side by side in the old hairpin. Bit of wheel banging together. And he manages to get it done, but Steve Burke takes the lead then at the very beginning. Matt Draycott's trying to pounce here as well. He's gone from 5th position up to 4th, and he is now trying it on Magic Sakovic. Calvin Dent was side by side with Andy Fox. Liam Silkstone has gone through as well. Just behind it's all kicking off. They're all over the shop. Michael Blake there just behind Paul Smith. Tom Jacobs just behind him as well. He's also having a bit more of a blink. Oh, big hop over the curb there for Niall Crowther. Him and Ben Lambert haven't had the most ideal first lap. Louis Hanker still at the rear of the field. Oh, some drivers there with slowdown penalties. Liam Silkstone included. Liam's lost a lot of places, but Steve Burke and Jake Robertson are side by side into the chicane for the first time. Take it easy, boys. It's half an hour yet. Sakovic down the inside. Is he going to go to the lead? It's car 8 and car 88 side by side. Jake Robertson all over the shop. They're winging the cars around at each other. Nearly 3 wide into turn 1. Don't do it, boys. Matt Draycott on the outside. Sakovic lay on the brakes. Majek hopping the car through turn 1. Magic Sakovic leads Burke out of shape just in front of Robertson. Draycott's trying to come through the middle now as well. Bit of a door bang. He says, get out of the way. Oh, come on, guys. It's a feature race, not a sprint. Draycott down the inside of Robertson. Bit of a tap. A little bit of a net Cody tap there by the look of it, and Calvin Dent wants in on this as well. I don't know where Burke's gone. He's back on and he's managed to get the lead from it. Not sure if that's an unfair advantage gained or what, but look at all of them. Elliott there right on the back of Michael Fox, though, side by side. Sakovic back down the inside of Burke. Dent down the inside of Draycott. Oh, Elliott's gone wide out of Redgate. Sorry, McLean's. What a fight this is at the front. This is unbelievable stuff. Oh, Ben Williams. Ben Williams is around. There's a car off in front of him somewhere. Someone's had another hit or some contact. Oh, what happened, Ben? So Ben's side by side with Andy Fox. Oh, Ben's just not giving Andy any room. And he's going to come back over to the left. And he gets hooked with him. And around he goes. I think just behind that there was a bit of a hit. I think Tom Jacobs maybe hit Michael Blake. And there is Ben now trying to recover. At the front, though, oh, Liam Silkstone making moves here. He's got Louis Hanker, Tom Jacobs, Carl Jackalette just in front. This is so feisty between all of these cars. So Silkstone and Hanker side by side now down the Craner curves with Blake behind. It's really thrown the order apart from what we saw last season. Paul Smith's on the fastest lap of the race. Burke has gone off the road at the front. He's probably just going wide out of the old hairpin. Look at Paul Smith just behind these guys there in the dark blue machine, the independent car, number 33. There he is, just creeping. Silkstone and Blake side by side. You can just hear the tyres absolutely screaming for mercy. Great side by side stuff here from Silkstone and Blake. I'm going to jinx it, no contact yet. Bit of a curb hop from Silkstone, runs a bit wide. Gets it all settled. Just ahead of this, Carl Jackalette is now under pressure from Tom Jacobs. Tom wants to make some more advances forward here. Onto the brakes he goes. Jackalette goes through that final, which came very quickly indeed. Calvin Dent then is at the back of this top five, and they're breaking away here. He's got Draycott in front of him. Then Robertson, who does the fastest lap of the race. Jake Robertson, despite starting on pole, not quite having this his own way at the moment, but he's got a good battle going on. Steve Burke having to hold these guys off at the minute. Good shots here though on board with Calvin Dent, just watching everything unfold ahead of him. Not sure whether that's a slowdown, but it certainly is a bouncy one. Listen in. No, he's not let off the throttle or anything. Steve Burke and Magic Sakovic side by side for the lead. Burke down the inside, Sakovic around the outside, Robertson in there as well. We'll have to have a look at it. Robertson closing. Oh, and Jackalette's off in the background. Steve gets a shove in the rear from Robertson. Get on with it, he says. I'll give you some momentum. Jackalette has gone off, I'm afraid. What's happened here? I know he was battling with Tom Jacobs. Oh, Tom just carries too much speed through there and just pushes him out of the way. Look at speaking pushing out of the way. Dent nearly pushing Draycott out of the way here. A bit of argy-bargy in the background as well. Oh, as Blake comes into the pits. Blake is the first car to pit. Draycott gives Burke a bit of a rub through turn one. They need to be really careful on these incident points. There's no need to make contact like that. And now Draycott's lost their position. It's Robertson and Sakovic at the front. And Burke can't quite get it done here. Look at Sakovic there. Very wide. Robertson now. He wants to take 2 from 2 in car 22. This is phenomenal racing. My stream deck's not my friend tonight. As Robertson round the outside into McLean's. Nicely done. Takes the race lead now. Can he run with it from there, or will someone break through and go after him? But look at this lot. All together. Jackalette's got his pit stop done. Andy Fox has made a few places. Tom Jacobs has gained 6 spots, by the way. And just behind him, Louis Hanker has gained 7. Biggest drop in the middle of the field at the moment, I'm afraid, is Niall Crowther, who's dropped 5 spots. But a lot can still happen. But look at Louis. Really pushing now. There's a couple of the cars come in the pit lane. Then it's Steve Burke, Andy Fox, Tom Jacobs. Steve probably just thinking, I need to get out of there. Need to get some clear air. Now watch how much longer these pit stops take now. Some of the drives before were just stopping. Oh, as Foxy's missed his box. They have to take at least 2 tyres. And that was quite interesting because I think Tom, Steve and Andy may have taken just one side there so it doesn't jack it up on both sides. That's quite an interesting little tactic. Michael Blake comes up behind them then. He's ahead of Jacobs, and that's Andy Fox, his teammate. Very close together through Redgate. The reigning team's champions there, flying in formation. Closest 2 cars on track though at the moment are Calvin Dent and Matt Draycott. Calvin Dent chasing down Sakovic for the lead in the independents. I'll show you the cars that have pitted so far. So you can see Steve Burke is the highest placed driver of those that have pitted at the moment. Sakovic is crawling all over the back of Jake Robertson. We'll go on board with Jake's car and look back. This is the battle for the lead. 22 versus 20. Sorry, 22 versus 88, and then it's 28 behind. So it's a combination of all 3. Majek misses the apex, but carries some good mid-corner speed. Down the crane as they go. Into the old hairpin. There's a lot of dust and muck on the circuit through there. Oh, Steve Burke's back in the pit lane. Oh, that's absolutely heartbreaking for Steve Burke. That now means that Michael Blake is the highest placed car that's pitted. Andy Fox and Tom Jacobs behind. Tom's on a mission tonight, isn't he? So's his internet. Calvin Dent still holding on here. We've got a good battle going on here between Ben Lambert, Niall Crowther and Carl Jackalette further down the order. Tom Jacobs did 2 purple sectors on that previous lap. This is for 14th, 15th and 16th between these 3. Jackalette and Lambert were going to get married after the round at Silverstone last season. The 2 of them were absolutely inseparable on track for the whole race meeting. As Matt Draycott comes in the pits, so too does Louis Hanker. Silkstone goes through. Now Ben Williams hasn't pitted yet, but Ben obviously was a victim to the contact earlier with Andy Fox. Michael Ellett moves up into 4th place, does his fastest lap of the race. But yeah, it's a spicy little battle here between the 2 Dodge MOT cars and Carl Jackalette. And Louis Hanker has jumped Matt Draycott in the pits here. Louis had a very quick stop. Now where is Michael Blake? And where is Andy Fox? And there they are. They're side by side coming into shot as well. Louis gets out of the way. There's contact, and Foxy's turned Blake sideways. Jacobs muscles his way down the inside. Thank you very much, he says. I will take that every day of the week. Let's have a look at this again from Tom Jacobs' point of view. So we're going down the straight, and the reigning team's champions. They see Louis Hanker coming out. Michael turns to the right a bit, gets on the brakes. They give him plenty of room. There's big contact from Foxy. Jacobs says, get out of it. Shoves Foxy to one side, and through he goes. So Jacobs now the highest placed car that's pitted. Foxy with half a Jetta left. And Louis Hanker probably laughing his head off. Sakovic in the pits then. They are pitting early, aren't they? In the first third. That may get changed. It was between laps 4 and 10, the pit window, but after the races have been extended to half an hour rather than 25 minutes, that may get extended and have the pit window maybe after the halfway point, let's say. Foxy's now got the run. There's the stream deck disconnecting again, thank you. Sakovic coming out the pits, Silkstone out the pits, so too Paul Smith as well. Oh, more contact between the Might Just Fit cars. Blake hitting Foxy this time, although he's helped him. He's turned him into the corner a little bit more. A lot of these guys need to be careful, though, with these incident points. Interesting how the pit stops have panned out, though. Some of the cars not having quite as quick a pit stop. This is still going on. Lambert, Crowther and Jacqueline. Completely inseparable. Brilliant stuff. And the leaders have spread out now as well. Robertson leads the way. Into the pits goes Calvin Dent. Michael Ellett hasn't pitted either. He's just behind now in second place. And he's closed up to Jake as well. He's only 2.6 seconds off the back of him. So you've got to think that some of that battling earlier on may have slowed those guys down. But Liam Silkstone is the highest placed car that has pitted so far then. The number 94 Ericsson Hitters machine, although that's a bit of a poor run through the chicane. He's got all of these lot trying to get past him behind. Jacobs now looking down the inside. Foxy in there as well. Louis Hanker. There's Ben Williams coming out of the pits. Now Ben has actually done a great job. He's not really lost out much there as Jacobs goes through on Silkstone. There is Ben Williams, so he's not actually lost that much. If anything, he's gained a little bit because of the pit stops. Now, Jacobs and Silkstone still side by side down the hill. Who's going to commit to the inside? Jacobs gets it. Foxy now with Blake right behind him. Then Louis Hanker putting the pressure on as well. Nose to tail stuff as they go up the hill. Paul Smith's going to be waiting in the wings here as well. Go on board with Paul Smith so you can just see what it's like trying to chase these guys down. Michael Ellett comes into the pits. Jake Robertson has stayed out again, so he's just using the clean air now to his advantage. Looks like Louis Hanker's got a run on Michael Blake. I'm going to be very intrigued to see what the championship standings look like after this, because it's very mismatched to what we saw last season. Paul has to really get on the anchors there in the chicane, try to get a good run on the exit. Car touches the grass a little bit, slightly sideways. I think Foxy's side by side, not quite side by side with Liam Silkstone. Where's Michael Ellett? He's on his way out of the pit lane, but he's missed all of this lot. Side by side, big shoulder barge there. Silkstone turns in. Foxy's on the apex. And now Michael Blake goes through. So only Jake Robertson hasn't pitted now. Oh, and Foxy I think might have some damage there. Through goes Hanker, and Hanker's got a great run actually through the old hairpin. He's going to try and get a move done on Michael Blake. Nothing doing yet. But Calvin Dent is now the highest placed driver that has pitted, and he is all the way up here. 3.1 seconds clear of Tom Jacobs. Ben Williams trying it on Paul Smith in there as well. Magic Sakovic involved in this fight. Ben Williams around the outside of Paul, and he's got it done as well. Great stuff from Ben in the Team Jane Fonda car. Don't forget, top 10 get points. So Paul is still on target for a championship point at the moment, although Ben Williams back in the pits. That's a shame, maybe for incident points. Silkstone and Jacobs still going at it. Silkstone round the outside. Blake running a little bit deep. Louis Hanker, he is there. Needs to be careful that there's no overlap. And there isn't. Sakovic now trying to get in on this. There's three little duos going on. It is going to be a ridiculously close season, isn't it, Ian? It's absolutely bonkers. Look at these six together. Oh, shut up, Stream Deck. The Stream Deck keeps disconnecting and reconnecting really quickly, and I have no idea why. Maybe a USB issue. We'll have to see. So apologies if you hear the Windows noise. But look at Silkstone. He's managed to get it down the inside of Jacobs. Runs a little bit deep into the corner, but gets it done. Nice stuff. Sakovic now trying it on Louis Hanker as well. He's got the better of Andy Fox. And now he wants to go round the Belgian. A little bit wide out of coppice. That's not going to work. We've only just got over halfway. I think we're going to see a drive-through for everybody except Jake Robertson at this point. Tom Jacobs down the inside into the chicane. That's brave. Oh, Tom's hit the curb really hard. It didn't need to happen. Blake's gone off as well. There was contact with Michael, who ran wide. Oh, he's come back on and hit Louis Hanker. Silkstone's gone in the pits. You just don't need to force the issue into there. You really don't. Sakovic now round the outside of Louis Hanker. Louis having some sort of disco on the inside. let's just have another little look back at what happened with this lot then. So you've got Jacobs down the inside of Silkstone. He just goes in a bit too hot on the brakes. He shallows his line out, hits the curb. Silkstone. Blake gets collected. Sakovic into the back of Silkstone, and then as Blake comes on, just clips the rear of Hanker. Then Smith goes into the back of Andy Fox. They just need to back out a little bit sometimes. It's the silly contact like that, just running straight into the back of one another, that just doesn't need to happen in my opinion. But each to their own, it's their incident points to play with. Jacob's still in the fight though. Hanker now at the front of this. Louis Hanker's gained 13 places. Don't forget he started this race last on the grid. And Jake Robertson in the pits. It looks like Ben Williams. Ben Williams has got some sort of issue there, I'm afraid. Jake Robertson in the pits. Where's Calvin Dent? Here is Calvin. And this could very well be a change for the lead here. Where is Jake? There is Jake. And Calvin Dent goes through. Calvin Dent takes the lead. And Jake instantly with the cutback. Side by side they go. What's happening here with these lot? It's still Hanker and Sakovic. Yeah, we're going to have a bet as who doesn't get the drive-through. Matt Draycott on the back of this now. He's gone down the inside of Michael Blake. Where's he come from? Draycott's suddenly back at the points. But Jake Robertson, he's taken the lead back off Calvin Dent now. But Calvin's not going to take that line down, is he? Around the outside. He's going to surely go on the inside now into McLean's. Is Jake going to leave him much room? He does. He gets a good run out of that. And yeah, you're right, Hedge. There was a whole lot of needless knocks there. There's no point just... If there's a car going slower in front of you, there's no point driving straight into the back of it. Because you give both of you 4x and probably at least one of you a drive-through at this point of the race. There's no point. Onto the brakes again, into the chicane. Calvin playing it nice and safe here, but he's got the mediocre cup for independence to think about. Why is Jake going over to the left? Oh, Jake's back in. Maybe speeding in the pit lane. So Calvin Dent, he's home free at the moment. Well, none of these lot are. Flipping heck. So you've got Draycott, Smith in there as well. It's almost an 8-car battle. You've got Jacobs there going around the outside of Hanker. Sakovic at the front of it. Draycott trying to go around the outside of Smith. That doesn't work. Behind him is Michael Blake. Then Steve Burke and Michael Ellett. Jake Robertson has gone way down the order. And he's taking tyres again as well. What has happened there, Jake? So we've got 2 independents at the front. I must add as well, there hasn't been an independent that has won a race outright yet. No independent has won a race outright. It was Matt Draycott, Steve Burke, Chris Coughlin and Ben Lambert that were the independents last season, as Paul Smith has a look down the inside. Draycott's on his left. Nearly squeezes Draycott out wide. Side by side again. Draycott around the outside at Coppice. Car 3 versus car 33. Gets it done. Now Michael Blake's going to want a piece of this. Steve Burke in there as well. Burke looking to the inside, onto the brakes. Whoa, the car's all sorts of out of shape. Plenty of curb. Whoa, Jacobs clipping the grass. Matt Draycott's wide as well. And he's off the track. Manages to stay in front of Paul Smith, though, does Draycott. He's back up to 5th, and he's the only car in the field that is currently where he started. That was Jake Robertson off at the side of the road. And there is Ben Williams. Those two are actually fighting each other for position now. They're probably just saying, right, let's just have a bit of fun. Jacobs 4th. He's gained 10 places after his DNF from race 1. Oh, look at Blake there, side by side with Steve Burke. Blake's car very battered at the front. Michael Ellett trying to come through as well there. Liam Silkstone still in the points in 10th. But he's a good 11 seconds down on this fight. And through goes Ellett. You've got to think Michael Blake's car with that damage is not behaving how he wants it to. Andy Fox is still all over the back of Liam Silkstone. I think the two of them must have had a drive-through penalty because of the incident points before. Oh, we've got Liam Silkstone off the circuit. Apologies for the sporadic camera flicking, but honestly, there's so much to look at. Now, Jacobs and Draycott right together. As you can see by their numbers, they finished 3rd and 4th in last season's championship. We've got a great train of cars, even after 21, 22 minutes of racing. We've got this amazing train as it tries to sort itself out. What do we all think of the format then? Do we think that that reverse grid in race 1 really helps? I think it does. It means that some of the faster guys that try and come through from 10th, or maybe just a little bit further forward, they really have to work for it. And if they get caught up in incidents trying to do so, I would say they hinder their chances at the feature race. But Louis Hanke, 3rd overall at the moment, has had an amazing drive from 16th up to 3rd. And he's now all over Maciej Sakovic. Calvin Dent, though, what a great drive from him so far. He has got 7 minutes left to go. Before he potentially becomes the first independent to take a race win overall in the British Boring Car Championship. Paul Smith, by the way, still in 6th place. He'll be happy with that at the moment. He was just on the outskirts of the top 10 earlier. Oh, we've got Ben Lambert off the track through McLean's. I'd love to know what happened to Jake Robertson. It's a real shame, that is. Real shame. We'll go on board now with Louis Hanke chasing Maciej Sakovic. So close to the back of that car. Out of turn 1. 2 independents at the very top of the timing then. They're really pushing through the old hairpin. They still need to be careful with those incident points. Closest 2 cars on track are Michael Ellett and Steve Burt. Michael Ellett's shown some really strong pace here, you know. Trying to put a bit of pressure on Steve, the mediocre Cup for Independents runner-up last season. The Team Netcode car looking good at the moment. Imagine they had blue, Bill. Love it, Ash. Absolutely love it. Into the final corner they go then, on the brakes. Ellett just showing his nose a little bit there. You've got to really launch this car around. The tyres will certainly be going off as this race progresses, but I think this longer race, with a very small amount of incident points, has actually calmed it down somewhat. Just ahead, Draycott still on the back of Jacobs through turn 1. And Hanke all over the back of Sakovic. That's literally Jacobs and Draycott are both staring a podium in the face at the moment, with Sakovic and Hanke having that battle in front of them. Louis looks down the inside into the old hairpin. Doesn't quite work, but he's got a good run. He's going to try it on the left-hand side of Maciej. Gets alongside. Gets his nose in front and up towards McLean's. You've got to think Maciej's going to be late on the brakes. No, he lets Louis have it. He thinks, right, let's not fight too much because I've got an angry Jacobs behind me now. Tom will be gutted after taking to space in race 1. Thank you everybody that has been watching so far. Please do give it a like. Make sure you subscribe to Chaz Draycott Media. And make sure you share it as well. Get more people watching what I must say in a very biased way is a fantastic championship. It's a lot of fun. Sakovic runs wide there. Jacobs gets the run out the final corner. Where's he going to go now? Is he going to go to the inside? He'd be a wise man if he does. Yeah, that front left isn't looking great, is it? He's gained 10 places so far as Tom. Don't forget Hanke, again, I'm going to reiterate this. He started last. Hanke started this race last on the grid. After getting a DNF in race 1. He was out on lap 2. So he's doing an incredible job here. Go on board with Draycott so you can just see it all developing in front of him. Oh, Hanke's gone off. Draycott's just focusing on his own lines here. He gets out of it. He's got 1.9 seconds back to Paul Smith, with only 3.5 minutes of this race to go. Side by side with Sakovic and Hanke. They need to be careful with incidents. Please nerve independents. To be fair, it's nice to see the independents doing well. Up there for overall Drivers' Championship honours. That'll be very amazing. But this 4-car battle is now for a podium spot, effectively. For 2 podium spots, you could say. This is Paul Smith then. 6th position at the moment. He's gained 5 spots in this race. He's also gained a lot of curb there as well. Steve Burke's going to get the run. Robertson and Williams just behind them. They are a lap down, so they're nothing to worry about in terms of position for Steve and Paul. I think if they're going to be a pair of good boys, they're not going to get involved. Steve round the outside into Redgate, tries to carry the pace, doesn't get it done. We saw him get a nice cutback in race 1. Doesn't quite do it this time round, but he's got a good bit of pace out of there. Down the crane as they go. Now Steve's going to be on the inside, but that's going to become the outside for the old hairpin. What's going to happen here? Paul gets it tucked in nicely. Steve tries another cutback. It's not quite worked here. Jake Robertson behind him, putting all of the pressure on, and there's no need to. Bit of contact between Robertson and Ben Williams there. Maybe the two of them knowing that there's no championship points at stake for the pair, so why not? I just really hope they don't make contact with either of the guys in front and give them unnecessary 4Xs, as they're known. They've got a lot of self-control going on. Michael Ellett is actually closing in on this as well. The battle for second place hotting up as well, just into the chicane now. That's very true, actually, Dave. How fitting would it be if Calvin Dent wins this race in that livery? How fitting would that be? That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Tom Jacobs side by side with Magic Sakovic for 3rd. Down the inside into turn 1. Nice job by Tom. Draycott's dropped off a little bit. Steve Burke still attacking Paul Smith. Oh, Steve into the back of him. Again, unnecessarily. I'll be having words. But yeah, Calvin Dent, 7.4 seconds out in front at the moment. And he's just played a very, very clean race. Jackalette and Crowther still fighting away further down the order. Crowther goes a little bit wide. Oh, Smith and Burke side by side again as they come towards McLean's. Burke carries a lot of speed. A lot of speed around the outside, very close together. Robertson and Williams are, if anything, in the way of Ellett here. They could get out of the way and open up a door for him to try and go through. Look at that, Steve round the outside. Calvin Dent is just about to start the final lap of the race. Second place is Louis Hanker at the moment. Tom Jacobs just behind him in 3rd. Here they are. Sakovic having a great first meeting, and Steve Burke has disappeared. I think he may have got another incident point, and that is that, I'm afraid. And that's all she wrote for Steve. So this is the battle we focus on now then. Well, it's 25 incidents over half an hour. It may seem strict, but you know, if he's going to run into the back of the car in front unnecessarily, that would have added 4 to it that he didn't need. Look at Sakovic just glued to the back of Tom Jacobs here. Tom will be very happy. Him and Louis will both be very happy to be on the podium after both DNFing from race 1. Just shows you how well you can turn it around. But off in the distance, Calvin Dent. At the moment, it looks like we're going to get 2 drivers that have made their debut in the championship and taken a win first time round. And it gives me great pleasure to say, into the final corner, Calvin Dent wins round 2 of the British Boring Car Championship in Season 2. What a beautiful drive. You could say he got lucky with Jake Robertson being penalised, but still, he got the job done where others fell. Louis Hanker, 2nd place. Amazing performance. Tom Jacobs with a podium. Sakovic rounds out a very good night. Same with Matt Draycott. Paul Smith, 3rd in the independents. Michael Ellett just behind. Michael Blake finishes in 8th position. Liam Silkstone limping that car across the line. Same too with Andy Fox. That was a very, very difficult evening for Might Just Fit, the reigning team's champions. But Calvin Dent takes your race win in the feature here in the British Boring Car Championship. Great drive, really strong drive. He was always up there at the front. And he just kept his calm, nice and tidy. And he did the job exactly how it should have been done. So here are your race results then. Nope, that's Heat 1. Apologies, everybody. There you go. Calvin Dent takes the win, 7.6 seconds from Louis Hanker, with Tom Jacobs just behind him on the podium. Maciej Sakovic, 4th place. He'll be over the moon with this evening. Great start to his championship and the Mediocre Cup for Independence. Matt Draycott 5th. Another good night for him with Paul Smith in 6th. Plenty of points on the board there for Paul. Michael Ellett gets points on his first attempt as well, in 7th, ahead of Michael Blake. Liam Silkstone and Andy Fox make sure that there's 2 Might Just Fit cars in the top 10. Carl Jacquelet finishes 11th, ahead of his sparring partner Niall Crowther and Ben Lambert as well. In 13th, Jake Robertson and Ben Williams 1 lap down, and Steve Burke, unfortunately, at the very end there, ending up with a disqualification. So, we'll have a couple of drivers in for an interview in just a moment. But let's have a look at this start, because Calvin Dent, the eventual race winner, you know, he wasn't the most exuberant through the whole thing, but he just got the job done. And that's what you have to do in these things. We do have one driver actually waiting for an interview very patiently, and that is the eventual 5th place finisher in that race, Matt Draycott. Matt, you must be pretty pleased with tonight, actually. It's not a bad way to start your championship overall, despite your qualifying.
Yeah, especially because before the first race, I was that angry that I went on my own in the Discord because I was getting really frustrated. I was like a little child. Wanted some music, and then after the first race, I was like, you know what? I've had my cry. Let's go and join the boys again.
Well, it was hardly surprising. I mean, I know how much hope you had for this season with the fact that, you know, you won the Independence Championship last time round. It was a big boost for you just in terms of sim racing in general to be competitive in something like that. Not having Josh here tonight, did you think that made a difference?
I think he would have been up there because of even just how well I did. Even just towards the end of that feature race, I was really sticking to the back of Tom, and I could have, if I didn't have 12 X's, I probably would have tried something, but I just didn't want it. I'd rather have one less place and finish.
Yeah, I was going to say it's. I mean, we saw that you were following the pack in front of you for a lot of that, and not really making any sendy moves or anything. Or as we've just seen you shoulder barge Jake Robertson out of turn 1. It was. You've just got to play it safe sometimes, haven't you? Especially with the incident points. And I mean, you were obviously in the chat with the guys throughout the race. What were they thinking in terms of the incident points and the limit? Did you think it was a bit too strict, or is it just right to keep it nice and clean?
Around here, the 25, the feature race is difficult, just because of how close we all are really in comparison. Especially with this, like, even just if you think about a standing start compared to a rolling start, the rolling start just gives you a bit more of a gap. But yeah, it was alright. It was just, I'm not a massive fan of this track, especially in this.
Yeah.
But that is another thing.
Yeah, it's not easy at all around here. I mean, we're looking at you guys going through the final corner now. Every single lap, you take a different line through there. It's far from easy, but you know, it's a steady start to your championship at least, and hopefully it continues. Before we let you go, do you want to give a thank you to anyone or a shout out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to all the Fitstyle boys that have helped me along the past few months, and yourself really, just for putting it all on and keeping all of us in check, or trying to.
Well, thank you very much. Well, well done tonight, though. Good start to your season, like I say, and hopefully we'll see you do well at the next one.
Cheers.
And he has said that I can drag him in, so our eventual feature race winner, Calvin Dent, basically makes history again and remakes history in the fact that the Matt Neal liveried car takes the feature race win at Donington Park. How are you feeling after that one, Calvin? You must be absolutely overjoyed, mate.
I'll be honest, mate, I'm happy about it. I have absolutely no idea what just happened.
Like,
In what way?
It's funny, like, because I wasn't like, it was quite clear with what, like, going through the race, I didn't have the pace of some of the other guys. Through some of them, I was catching it, but I was losing a lot of time, especially through the I don't know the turn names, but I was losing a lot of time, and I thought I was going to drop off, and then all of a sudden, I come out basically side by side with Jake, not knowing what's going on. Then he goes back in the pits, and then I'm miles ahead of everyone. So, yeah, really happy with that, to be fair, but quite surprised by it.
Well, to be honest, I was quite surprised to see Jake go in as well. I mean, I'm not quite sure why it happened, but we'll find out eventually, I'm sure. But talk to me about your hopes for the championship, though, Calvin. I mean, you're the first independent to win a race outright in the British Touring Car Championship, as Matt Neal was in the BTCC in that livery. Do you think that you could go on to win the Independents Championship and maybe even challenge for overall honours?
No, I think from day one, I kind of came here to try and win as much as I could. There are a lot of quick guys out there that, looking at it, a fair bit quicker than me at the moment. I think what I've got going for me over the other guys right now is I've been a bit more consistent. If you look at that race, there's a lot of guys that were going off at various points, you know, getting a bit skew-iff a lot. And I managed to have a fairly clean race. So yeah, I'm here to win the Independents without a shadow of a doubt. And if I can win the overall, well, yeah, if I'm close, I'm going to keep pushing for it.
Smashing. Well done, Calvin. That was a great drive. Very well-deserved win. Before we let you go, do you want to give a shout-out to anybody?
I'm going to shout out to the Excite boys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, and especially Jack Ashton. I avoided playing this sim for a very long time, and he made me try it one day, basically forced me, and I've been hooked ever since. So I'm going to thank Jack Ashton, and also say he's the worst person and done the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Love it. Well, great to speak to you, Calvin. Well done again, mate, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, Chaz.
Cheers. Right then, we'll move very quickly on to a driver that started at the very back of the field in that one and ended up in second place. Louis Hanker joins me in the chat. Louis, that was a hell of a drive, mate. You must be pretty pleased there to get that.
No, I'm exhausted.
I'm not surprised. It looked like quite a lot of effort, but was it an enjoyable race still?
Yeah, definitely enjoyable car as well. I didn't expect I would like a Volkswagen that much.
Yeah, it's a bit of a deceiving machine, isn't it? It looks a bit boring on the outside, hence the championship name, but it's a lot of fun to drive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a handful actually. It's not that hard to drive, but it's very hard to get fast in it.
Yeah, for sure. And talk to me about your first race. I mean, the incident at the start obviously gave you quite a bit of damage. Did it just not fix it at all when you had the fast repair?
Yeah, it didn't fix my wheel being not straight, so yeah. Only thing I could do was DNF before I took someone out.
Well, fair play to you for at least conceding that, but at the end of the day, you put on a great show in that second race and got second place in that one. Just ahead of the rest of the season, do you think that you're going to be up there fighting? Because you've certainly got the pace to do it.
I'm not sure. There's a couple of tracks I never raced on, so we'll see how that goes. But on the tracks I know, I might be there up front, I think.
Well, I look forward to seeing how you get on, Louis. Before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Yeah, to Jake. He did very great on the first race, but the second one I was a little bit disappointed in my teammate. Yeah.
Understandably. Was it?
And to you for organising this.
Thank you very much. Was it incident points with Jake or speeding in the pit lane or something?
Well, both.
Oh no, you're joking.
Yeah, he had a drive-through and then he sped in the pit lane. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Jake. Oh well, it happens. But thank you very much for chatting to us, Louis. Well done on second place, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers. And one more final interview. We spoke to him a little bit earlier, and I don't think he would have quite expected to be on the podium at the end of the evening after that. Tom Jacobs joins me again. Tom, you must be pretty relieved, I think is the word.
Yeah, massively. We had a few little incidents. I've paid my apologies and my dues to Liam Silkston and Carl Jackalette. But yeah, I think Michael Blake and Andy Fox had a bit of a coming together coming into turn one. I think Louis Hank was in there as well. I just capitalised on that. So
Yeah,
it
we
just
caught
sort of
that.
went well for us. Yeah, yeah, it just went well for us. And then obviously it was Magic and Louis Hanker as well that I was fighting with at the end. But I was on 14x before a drive through for 12 laps, so I didn't want to do any sort of heroic lunges going into the last few laps. So, but yeah, it was all right. I'm happy with the third place.
And you mentioned the incident points. I asked Matt what he thought, and he said around here it was quite difficult to keep at least under that 15 over the half hour. But do you think that's a good thing for the championship going forward in terms of keeping it clean and keeping drivers a bit under control?
Yeah, a lot of the guys were saying, obviously, it's difficult. I know me and Steve Burke, a teammate, we had a couple of issues. I think he got DQ'd in the end.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe if we raise it by 5, I think that would probably be a little bit easier. I think round track places like Brands, it probably won't be a problem, but narrower tracks like here in Alton, maybe, I don't know. It's up to the stewards at the end of the day. But yeah, it does keep the racing a lot cleaner, and I know a lot more people don't just want to go for heroic lunges down the insides to end up possibly getting a drive-through. So it's swings and roundabouts with it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, well done on getting a podium in the end, mate. It was great to see you at least make some sort of redemption for your great pace in that first race that didn't, unfortunately, end in the win. But we're just about to see the incident now. Is the two might just fit cars hit each other, and then you just sort of hip and shoulder through down the inside.
Yep.
Do you want to give a shout out to anybody before you go?
Yeah, shout out to yourself for a great broadcast and another great series.
Thank you.
Big shout out to my dad, Ash. He's watching at home as he does and cheers me on and tries to give me driving tips because he firmly believes he's a better sim racer than myself. Bless him. And also to my girlfriend Sid, who lets me do this 2 or 3 times a week and have all the equipment I need to do it. So thanks very much.
Love it. Well, great to speak to you again, Tom, and I'm sure we'll speak soon anyway. But I'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Bye.
And that brings us to the end of the broadcast. And, well, Calvin Dent makes history in the British Boring Car Championship by becoming the first independent to take an outright race win. And to do it already just shows you the unbelievable level that the competitiveness here has stepped up in the British Boring Car Championship. Jake Robertson took that first race win as well on his debut. An unfortunate incident with Tom Jacobs, but that's part of racing, isn't it? But I just want to say thank you to everybody that has been watching tonight. Thank you to everybody that supports the series and does what they do every week in and out. Thank you very much to everyone that supports me and what I do as well. This has been the British Boring Car Championship. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time where hopefully we'll have David Addison alongside me as we bring you the action from Silverstone International. But for now, have yourselves a fantastic evening. We'll see you in 2 weeks.